Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Progressive Discussions. This is Progressive Discussions. It happens to be Saturday, November 19th. Is it? Yes. Saturday, November 19th, 2011. And we are coming to you live. Well, at least as this video is being pre-recorded for the...
yeah, we could die in the meantime.
For the internet, you know. We are coming from the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. I am your host, James P. Madonna of Mega Life 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet, and I am here with my co-host and illustrious mentor of Newsletter Censored in 1977, the very Pope of the internet himself, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you today, sir?
Very good, very good.
Okay, as you can see, I have brought out my fall and winter clothing and have put away all my short sleeve summer shirts, all my Izod polos and all the other things I wear in the summer. And I have brought out the little Scottish tartan style scarfie, which kind of goes with my prop, the imported Blackthorn Irish shillelagh, imported from Ireland, of course, weapons grade. It has political meaning, as well as being a great primitive gavel, you know, like Judge Judy would use. It helps me emphasize certain things. Now, I want to get right into something. First of all, I would like to do a tribute and dedicate this Thanksgiving special. This is the Thanksgiving Day special of Progressive Discussions, and you might as well say, and of Newsletter Censored. It is very loud in the studio today, so please forgive me if I raise my voice. Volume is a little loud. Anyway, the Newsletter Censored staff is having a meeting again. So they're women, so they tend to be, Anyway, I want to dedicate this show to an old censored on demand archive classic that is one of the most important ever written by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. It is very important. It is called The Political Misuse of Christianity. And I would like to consider this The Political Misuse of Christianity Part 2, the video discussion. And I want to dedicate today's show to that. It's a very important reading, and it is on the internet now, as well as at random on Thursdays when we play Newsletter Censored. Every Thursdays from the Pirate Radio Network. All right, but it is available on demand via the internet, YouTube. The Political Misuse of Christianity. Like I said, please forgive me if I raise my voice because it is a little freaking loud due to the big meeting that the staff is having. So periodically I will raise my voice until I lose my temper. Now, I would just like to say, Dr. Bill, that Herman Cain was on the David Letterman show last night for a length of time. And he was smiling from ear to ear like a jack-o'-lantern. He was being very pleasant, very nice, witty,
jocular.
Very gracious, huh?
Jocular.
Jocular. That has something to do with a jockstrap? What the hell does that mean?
Nice, funny, affable.
Oh, trying to seem like a nice guy. Sort of like the politicians that used to go around kissing babies.
Yeah.
All right. And
but
David,
he'd rather go around kissing women, though.
Yeah, that's true. No pun intended. So Herman, the Hurricane Cain.
That's him. Yes, Herman.
And nobody has called him that in public yet. We're the first. Of course, David Letterman. He's a progressive liberal. He's a Democrat.
A Democrat.
A Democrat. He's a, yeah, Thundercats. He's a Democrat through and through. He was sticking it to him, you know, giving him a lot of digs, needling him all night, asking him a lot of questions, putting Herman Cain on the spot. And, you know, Herman Cain was getting a little annoyed, with a smile, of course.
A little testy.
Yeah, a little testy because, you know, David Letterman was really pinning him up against the wall and pushing him in a corner with important questions. Of course, Herman Cain was always going back to his 999. Now, let me ask you a question. I am not thoroughly familiar with exactly what 999 means, but is it a form of flat tax?
Yeah.
How did I guess? The Republicans, conservative Republicans, they want to do away with the tax code, like Herman Cain said. He would do away with the tax code completely and try this 999. So David Letterman was saying, well, what if it doesn't work? What are you going to do next? 10, 10, 10? And everybody laughed, ha, ha, ha. Now, years ago, Ed Koch had a talk radio show, legendary former mayor of New York City, and Eddie Koch was commenting on, what was his name? Steve Forbes? Steve Forbes.
10%.
Flat tax, because Steve Forbes, every time he ran for president, he was always pushing this flat tax. It seems like the elitists, backed by the right-wing elitists, are kind of like fixated on two things: a flat tax and cutting all social programs for the poor. So I guess the poor can drop dead. All right, now.
Well, that's under their smaller government.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. The flat tax. Eddie Koch, very experienced. He was a congressman, and how many terms as mayor? A lot.
I think he only 2.
Oh, he had only 2.
Yeah, Mr. Bloomberg had it changed to 3.
Well, because he's a dictator.
Yes.
He's a fascist.
He dictates with his moolah.
Yeah, he's an elitist, a billionaire, and he is the man with the Napoleonic complex, the little barking chihuahua, is a right-wing fascist. The way he's treating the protesters at Wall Street. Now, Eddie Koch said that immediately that what the flat tax really is a sneaky way, even though they won't tell you, it is a way for the wealthy not to pay any taxes at all. Because how it works out, ultimately, is that the little guy gets stuck with the tax burden, like they are now. But maybe the flat tax sticks the little guy even more with the tax burden.
Well, it's just relieving more pressure on the top. The pressure's been released for the last 30 years on the top.
Yeah, so it's about greed. It's about corporate greed. It's about the corporate control plutocracy that the right wing wants. A global corporate control plutocracy, a feudalistic oligarch. Then Herman Cain, they were talking about the war. Herman Cain, no, they were talking about economic situation of the United States, how the United States is kaput economically. And Herman Cain's solution is to, in order to beat mainland China economically and the rest of the world, he has a plan to bring the United States on top. And then he said, militarily, I will make the United States #1 again. What does that mean? Pouring more money into the military budget? Yeah. More money than has already been poured into the military budget?
More wars of choice.
Oh, you mean strategically pick and choose and instigate fights? I mean wars of choice that will benefit
the big contractors, the Pentagon.
You mean war
contractors?
Are you talking about war profiteering?
Yes.
So, smiley, pleasant, little old Herman Cain, that reminds me of Theodore Long, Teddy Long, of the pro wrestling industry. He actually would be in favor of war profiteering, that nice guy.
Why not?
So,
all Republicans, unless proven otherwise, are in favor of war profiteering.
Okay, so what Herman Cain is trying to say in different ways, in this very sneaky, convincing way, is he wants business as usual, an extension of the G.W. Bush administration, more or less.
Exactly.
And then Reagan is his hero, by the way. He said
Exactly.
Ronald Reagan is his hero, the man that shifted the tax burden from the rich to the middle class and the poor. Ronald Reagan is Herman Cain's hero. And you know, the guys. Well, what does the Bible say? He who makes haste to be rich shall not be innocent.
And what about
there you go.
He who oppresses the rich to increase his...
No, he who oppresses the poor to increase his riches. And he that gives to the rich shall surely come to want.
Yes.
Proverbs, right?
Republicans think they are oppressed, the rich. They think they're oppressed.
Right, and I got news for you. They keep on talking about our natural resources. The resources of the earth belong to God. They do not belong to man. They do not belong to corporations, and corporations are not persons, by the way. Which who made them people? Bush?
No, who did it? Supreme Court did.
Supreme Court made them people.
Well,
now, what I'm trying...
Actually, the Supreme Court did not make them. What happened was, I explained it in the couple articles ago. There was a case, California went to the Supreme Court against the railroad.
Right.
And the case could be handled on a local level in California. So the Supreme Court had nothing to actually do for the case. But this court clerk, who was a corrupt individual who used to work for the railroad, put on the head note on the decision.
Right.
It says, corporations are people, are persons under the 14th Amendment. And ever since then, the courts have decided that corporations are persons. There is no precedent. There is no real precedent law which states that. None whatsoever. But over the years, since 1886, they have been deciding in favor of corporations as people under the 14th Amendment and are allowed due process, etc. And the First Amendment, Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, all this crap. It's crap. Garbage.
Yeah, it's just...
it's much like the Kidder Law. The Kidder Law, the Social Security decides when you are disabled by the fact that if you are able to work, you are not disabled.
Well, the government tricks the handicapped, the disabled, into getting a part-time job, telling you need not worry about losing your disability checks. Right. You can get a part-time job. We won't penalize you for it. As soon as you get the part-time job, they take you off of your Social Security disability or your SSI or any kind of welfare. It's a trick. It's a trick. Welfare for the rich, Wall Street bailouts are okay, are fine for them. But if you give welfare to a poor family, or any social program, they demonize that. That's horrible. They don't like that. It's a double standard. Now, Herman Cain being so jocular, you said?
Yeah.
Jocular reminds me of another thing that is mentioned in the Bible, that the Satan comes often as an angel of light. Maybe Herman Cain happens to be that angel of light, like a wolf in sheep's clothing, so to speak, trying to win over mainstream America, just like the Tea Party has suckered mainstream America into voting for a Republican Congress last November. Very, very similar, one and the same. But before you start with the first article, I noticed something, Dr. Bill, that I was telling you off the air. I didn't mention it, I said, but I want to make a note that I noticed that the American media has been, in my opinion, demonizing the Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street protesters by bringing out all the negative aspects of what's going on with the protest and not mentioning any of the positive aspects of why the protesting is taking place nationwide.
Of course.
They're demonizing.
They're corporate controlled. Media is corporate controlled. They're not going to say bad things about their bosses. So they're going to find every little thing.
They talk about, how the protesters are keeping people from getting to work on time, keeping children from getting to school on time. They're blocking the sidewalk. They're hollering at kids. They're causing traffic jams. They don't mention anything about why
they're there.
They're there.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that they don't know why they're there.
Who's saying this? The media?
The New York Times.
The
media.
The New York Times. So the media collectively is spreading rumors that the Occupy Wall Street protesters do not have a purpose. They do not even know what they're representing. They don't even know why they're there.
Right.
When in actuality, I bet there are plenty of leaders of the Occupy Wall Street movement that can get in front of a camera and be interviewed and tell the country exactly why they're there. Even like a Michael Moore. A Michael Moore can be interviewed as a great representative of the Occupy Wall Street. But it never happens. We haven't seen any interviews of any leaders connected with Occupy Wall Street. None have been interviewed. I notice.
Well,
Doc.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
They don't want to. They don't want to give you the real reasons here. They'd have to tear down Wall Street.
So, is it fair to say that the American media is very similar to the conservative propaganda of the Tea Party? Lying and using Joseph Goebbels' techniques of lying over and over and over and over?
Let's put it this way. If you were in Nazi Germany and you had a newspaper, would you be complaining about the Nazis? Or exposing the truths about the Nazis?
No, because it's a fascist regime, right?
Exactly. You wouldn't be living too long, would you?
No.
Well, that's what the corporate media is in this country.
So if somebody in journalism or somebody representing, let's say, CNN,
Yeah.
or MSNBC, or even, oh God forbid, Fox News, if they came clean and interviewed all the leaders, all the people behind Occupy Wall Street, including a Michael Moore, or maybe a Dr. Gary Null, or whoever, they would get fired, you think? Immediately?
Well, maybe not immediately.
They get reprimanded, right?
Well, they'd probably be put on the back burner or something. They wouldn't be writing no main articles anymore.
Because it's obvious that they do not want the public, mainstream America, to hear the other side. The reason why the Occupy movement is nationwide. All they do is portray the yelling and the violence. Yes, they do show one thing. They do show the mistreatment by police officers of the Occupy protesters, which is very nice of the media to do.
Yeah, go to Facebook and see Gary Null's videos that they've collected of police brutality.
Have you seen, I think Lionel originally posted it on the internet. He's a very popular talk show host, rather progressive in many ways, in the New York City area. He's an attorney, very smart guy, very funny guy. Lionel posted a video about a handicapped man who was thrown from his wheelchair by a police officer.
And Gary Null has that too.
And he was part of the protest?
2 police officers.
So two police officers pushed a handicapped man.
Drug him out of the chair.
Excuse me?
Drug him out of the chair.
Dragged him.
And pushed him forward.
I don't think drug.
And he went down and he hit his head. And his head was bleeding.
So
and they handcuffed him.
Like when the New York City police officers started pepper macing innocent little college girls who had no weapons.
An 84-year-old woman.
84-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And now a handicapped man in a wheelchair. 2 cops are dragging him from his wheelchair, throwing him on the street, The man hits his head. Oh, that's real macho.
Well,
Oh, that's real macho. You know, the cops. You know what makes them do that? Cops like that, because they have the legal right to carry weapons, and it's gone to their heads.
however,
Or maybe they were told by a certain fascist leader who happens to be Republican. Maybe they were told by perhaps Mayor Bloomberg to get rough.
no. What
No?
has happened since 9/11 is a total militarization of the police. Even if they did at one time protect and serve the populace, they do not protect and serve the populace today. They protect and serve the fat cats.
Okay, now since the fat cats represent 1% of the population, I'm gonna quote a little Hulk Hogan. What you gonna do when the 99% really become irate and get out there in the tens of thousands or the hundreds of thousands and start joining militias and start learning how to use weapons? What are you gonna do? You're gonna rough them up, and how many cops are there with shields and
but
clubs
here's one
and
of
guns?
Here's one of the problems.
What?
The cops should be on the side of Occupy.
Well, because
Occupy
many
is trying to save their jobs.
Right. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think the Goldman Sachs boys and the Wall Street gurus that destroy the country and corporate CEOs should be dragged out and lynched.
Exactly, but no one's being punished.
Right. But
So what does that tell you?
But the thing is, many, just like the National Guard, the military, and the police officers, many of these many of these people came from perhaps low income or poor or middle class families. The very people that are being oppressed by the elitists, by these right-wing fascists. The very people. So what, they forget where they came from? They forget their roots?
Well, it's like it's somewhat like the...
Or they still have a job. Maybe that's the reason.
In the concentration camps, in the Nazi concentration camps, they actually put some Jews up as monitors of the rest of the Jews, the prisoners.
To say, you want to save your hide?
Yeah.
You rat out your own people.
Yeah, and it happens.
And they compensate. In other words, everybody has a price, and because these cops and these military people are compensated and they still have a job, because they're made to feel lucky that they still have a job nowadays in this economy, and because of desperation, a lot of these people have families, and because they're still receiving an income,
they follow orders
instead of being unemployed.
Good Nazis.
So they follow orders, the cops, military people, and they rough up the little guy who's being oppressed and who's suffering.
Yeah.
So
back to your thing, your comment before. You said, "What are they going to do?" With Jesse Ventura, you asked that question. What are they going to do? Well, they know what they're going to do. If you saw the conspiracy theory with Jesse Ventura, when he showed all of those caskets piled up,
right, the concentration
ready
camps.
to accept bodies.
What about tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of very angry Americans starting a war? How are they going to handle how are they going to handle the masses?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They have the caskets piled up. They got contingency plans, baby.
I say that the right wing and the elitists are representatives of Satan in the 21st century, in the end times. I say they're soldiers of Satan.
No kidding.
This is a very heavy-duty show this week. That's why I'm honoring the old classic, the political misuse of Christianity, because right-wing, phony, counterfeit Christian, right-wing fundamentalist conservatives, Republicans, claim that they are much closer to God than us wicked, suppose, us secular humanists, us progressive liberals are supposed to be demonized and wicked. No. Everything, the whole political philosophy of progressive liberals is the closest thing, it's not perfect, it's the closest thing to the teachings of the Bible, and what the Republicans are telling you is the farthest thing from the teachings of the Bible. So how can people profess to be real Christians and lie to you blatantly? How could they tell you that they are real Christians and you're damned and you're not, and you're damned to burn in a lake of fire, when they themselves are contrary, are anti-Bible? They don't know the God of the Bible, because if they did, they would see that the Bible is loaded with information about the rich selling their personal possessions and giving it to the poor. The Bible commands the rich to continue to help the poor over and over and over. It's loaded with it. Just open it up and read it.
That's why they want to change it.
But they want to rewrite the Bible,
that's right,
which is a violation of the last chapter of the book of Revelation.
Well,
if you read
it's just one more violation.
But I'm sure,
what do they care?
But I'm sure they'll white out. I'm sure they'll white out the last chapter of the book of Revelation.
What the hell?
So they want to rewrite it. So they're corrupt. So this is the deal. They're liars. They're not representative of the God of the Bible. And you've been lied to. You've been duped. And find out about writing in a candidate, by the way. You are allowed to write in a candidate. What the leaders should really tell the protesters to do is to back a good, solid, independent candidate and write them in. You're not going to see the independent invited to any debates. So they should be written in, and learn how to write in a candidate. Dr. Bill for President. Go to newslettercensored.com. But this is what I'm trying to get at. They're all lies. It's propaganda. Herman Cain, Angel of Light, so on and so on. The Tea Party, using the flag, using God, the Bible, and the flag, doing the Yankee Doodle
and Mom
dance.
and apple pie.
Mom and apple pie, which is bullshit. It's only a friggin' pie. Big deal. What does a pie mean? The phony Yankee Doodle dandy, flag-waving, phony patriotism, hiding behind the flag and hiding behind the Bible, which they do not know. All this propaganda coming from the Tea Party conservatives to sucker you, mainstream, middle-class America, who is carrying the tax burden, who is slowly getting laid off, getting their homes foreclosed, living in tents, and all the jobs are going overseas, outsourced. The rich are not paying taxes. Corporate America is not paying taxes, and you're getting screwed. They're convincing you, the suffering people, to vote Republican in every election with their Tea Party lies.
Yeah, they're taking away your open mind.
Yeah, you're supposed to have an independent, free-thinking, open mind, and make your own decision, and being able to question authority when they need to be questioned. Like a college student questioning a college professor. You're supposed to have that, but no, you become lemmings, you become androids, repeating the same crap that the Tea Party tells you to think. Tax and spend liberals, tax and spend liberals, tax and spend liberals. But what about tax and spend when they give to the fat cats, to the corporations in bailouts?
To the Pentagon. To lose the money. To give it to contractors.
Yeah. Trillions, right?
Trillions.
Wall Street, bailouts, trillions, military, which you don't need all that money in the military. All this wasted money, but that's okay. That's not tax and spend. That's not foolish pork barrel spending for Republicans. Oh no. When the Democrats try to help the little guy, now the little guy happens to be in the middle class too. When they try to help Americans with compassion, oh, that's socialism. You see what they're doing? It's all phony, baloney propaganda. All right, first article.
McDonald's Corporation said Friday it has dropped a Minnesota-based egg supplier after an animal rights group released an undercover video of operations at the egg producers' farms in 3 states. The video by Mercy for Animals shows what the group calls animal cruelty at 5 Sparboe, S-P-A-R-B-O-E farms, facilities in Iowa, Minnesota, and Colorado. Its images include a worker swinging a bird around by his feet, hens packed into cramped cages, male chicks being tossed into plastic bags to suffocate, workers cutting off the tips of chicks' beaks, dead birds in the cages.
Roosters being mass genocide of one of my favorite animals, the rooster.
Well, they need those eggs, man. The profit.
And I think the commercial chicken livestock industry uses white leghorns. They're all white, right?
No, they were different colors.
They were different? Oh, okay, because I was going to say
most of them were white, though.
Poor foghorn leghorn. But anyway...
I say, son, I say.
Oh, say, yeah, now I'm going to start. Really, this is not funny. It's not cruelty. But it's allowed.
That's what profit does.
But deregulation of corporations, right? They're allowing this cruelty. But if the little guy, I'm not condoning it. I'm not condoning cruelty to animals in any form, at any level. But if the little guy does something, they get arrested by the ASPCA. But if the fat cats, livestock companies, do it to pigs, do it to cattle, do it to the veal, the poor calves, chickens in this case, turkeys for Thanksgiving. I'm sure they're not getting, they don't have a happy life. Ducks, I saw a documentary about those white Pekin ducks. They don't have a very happy life either. They're crammed together.
And what about the ones raised for frogwa?
Oh gosh, goose liver. When they force feed geese, so their livers swell up and they end up with overly large livers, so the company can sell more frogwa and increase its profits by force feeding the geese. Yeah. Same thing. It's horrible. And that's allowed. They're not arrested by the ASPCA, but the little guy is arrested.
Yeah, the company claimed that its chickens were free reign.
Free range?
Yeah, free range.
But they're lying, right?
Yes, they lied. That's why that animal group went in there to get the undercover video, because they were lying.
It's terrible. I mean, I'm sorry I took up a lot of time at the beginning of the show, but there are some very important key issues that had to be brought up. And for those of you that, don't hear the progressive view, because the media is always showing you the conservative view, like what Mr. Kane has to say and everything. I just wanted you to hear that what you listen to on the American news media is not necessarily the truth, or it could be a little bit of truth with a lot of lies, or it could be 50% true. They mix the truth with the lies. It's like snake oil salesmanship. It's like capitalism. They take a little bit of truth and they exaggerate and they lie to the consumer and make a commercial, and then so to get you to go out and buy their merchandise. Like an infomercial, but
Rising in polls and receiving greater scrutiny, Republican presidential candidate Newt Gingrich found himself on the defensive Wednesday over huge payments he received over the past decade from the mortgage giant Freddie Mac.
Are you talking about the Gingrich that stole Christmas?
Yeah.
I wonder if a cartoonist way back when made.
Yes, they did.
I want to find the Gingrich As long as the person who did the satire has their signature.
Try
here.
Googling it.
Yeah, if the person's name is on there, I shouldn't get in trouble for that, right?
No.
Okay, good.
Gingrich, who is now near the top in polling among GOP candidates, said he didn't remember exactly how much he was paid, but a person familiar with the hiring said it was at least $1.6 million for consulting contracts stretching from 1999 to early 2008. Long unpopular among Republicans, federally backed Freddie Mac and its larger sister institution Fannie Mae have become targets for criticism stemming from the housing crisis that helped drive the nation deep into recession and then hampered the recovery. Gingrich himself criticized Barack Obama in 2008 for accepting contributions from executives of the two companies.
But it's okay for Republicans to accept contributions.
Speaking with reporters in Iowa on Wednesday, Gingrich said he provided strategic advice for a long period of time after he resigned as House Speaker following his party's losses in the 1998 elections. He defended Freddie Mac's role in housing finance and said every American should be interested in expanding housing opportunities. On Tuesday, a House committee voted to strip top executives of Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae of huge salaries and bonuses and to put them on the same pay scale as federal employees. After disastrous losses, both companies were taken over by the government in 2008. During the 2008 campaign, Gingrich suggested in a Fox News interview that presidential candidate Obama should return contributions he had received from executives of the two companies. He said that in a debate with Obama, GOP presidential nominee John McCain should have turned and said, Senator Obama, Senator Obama, are you prepared to give back all the money that Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae gave you? Gingrich sought Wednesday to portray his history with Freddie Mac as a sign of valuable experience. It reminds people that I know a great deal about Washington, he said. We just tried 4 years of amateur ignorance, and it didn't work very well. So having someone who actually knows Washington might be a really good thing. At least one of his rivals assailed him over the matter. It doesn't matter if it's $300,000 or $2 million. The point is, the money that was taken by Newt Gingrich was taken to influence Republicans in Congress to be in support of Fannie and Freddie, Michelle Bachmann said. While Newt was taking money from Fannie and Freddie, I was fighting against them. Fannie and Freddie buy home loans from banks and other lenders, package them into bonds with a guarantee against default, and then sell them to investors around the world. The two own or guarantee about half of all U.S. mortgages and nearly all new mortgage loans. Gingrich's history at Freddie Mac began in 1999, when he was hired by the company's top lobbyist, Mitchell Delk. He was brought in for strategic counseling, primarily on legislative and regulatory issues. The job, which paid about $30,000 a month, lasted until sometime in 2002. In 2006, Gingrich was hired again on a 2-year contract that paid him $300,000 a year. Again, to provide strategic advice while the company fended off attacks from the right wing of the Republican Party. Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae for years had been under scrutiny from Republicans on Capitol Hill who opposed government involvement in the mortgage business.
Okay, we're going to take a break because it is time for my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, to take part in his gastronomic delight known as lunch, followed by high green tea, and then I will do some promo, like I normally do. And then we will continue with current news topics and newspaper articles of importance that were handpicked by Dr. Bill. See you. Okay, we're back. Time for promo. This gentleman right next to me, okay, is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, my mentor and co-host. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist, and this is a fine watercolor self-portrait of him that he did a long time ago. Now, the William J. Eisenman collection of fine watercolor art can be seen on the internet through YouTube under the William J. Eisenman collection. You'll see a slideshow of all of his work, now about 99.9% of his work. Okay, because he's always working on new projects. He's always painting new paintings. You could see it on the internet. It's done to Caribbean steel drum music, or you can go to newslettercensor.com and more or less many of his paintings are there, or you can go to the William J. Eisenman Facebook profile. Now, if you see something you like, send him an email, and if the painting is still available, you can purchase the painting. Bidding starts at like $500 each. And they are personally signed, each one by William J. Eisenman, and painted by him. They are original watercolor paintings. All right. Now, the backbone of this organization, Newsletter Censored, founded in 1977 by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. This newsletter is unlike any other in existence in the universe today. It represents 100% cold, hard-hitting truth. It represents the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. This is the kind of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? Okay, and it starts off, this is the new issue, volume number 117, The Devil's Economics by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. All right, followed by, sometimes there's room for tidbits, which is current news topics and things of that nature. But this one, does this one contain the special letter?
Yeah.
Yeah, a special letter from an individual, and William J. Eisenman shows the letter and responds to it, you know, and rightfully so. Then you have The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity. In this case, it is titled Behemoth. Okay, this is where you learn what the Bible really has to say, not what counterfeit Christian, phony, right-wing fundamentalists tell you what the Bible says, that try to rewrite the Bible. This is what the Bible really says. And you can, of course, listen to The God Project every Sundays from our hard-hitting internet talk radio station, Mega Life 21. The link is at the top of newslettercensor.com. Every Sundays, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, from the Pirate Radio Network, you can listen to The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity. And also, I am proud to announce that from the internet, YouTube, we have the all-new The God Project on demand video playlist with William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. All of the classics from the past, all of the God projects ever done are on demand from a video, and you can click on it and listen to them as often as you like, including censored on demand archive classics. You can, it's great. I mean, you can listen to them at any time you want, as many times as you want. So, and then last but not least, in the newsletter, Sexuality, A Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. So that's it. The very backbone of our organization. The best way to be a part of our organization is to get your free annual subscription with your gift to support this work. Get it now. Your free annual subscription with your gift to support this work. Newsletter censored. This is the backbone of our organization. This is the very best way to be a part of our organization. So get it right now. There's nothing like this out there in the world today. We are living in the end times, and you need Newsletter Censored. I repeat, you need Newsletter Censored. This is how you join us. Also, go to newslettercensored.com and read Dr. Bill for President. Dr. Bill ran, I think this is the third time he's running. I think so. As an independent, of course. Progressive, independent. And he will teach you how to write in a candidate. People are not told by the media, of course. And of course they're not told by the two-party system. The corrupt, elitist, corporate ass-kissing two-party system that has sold you out, the American voter. So he'll teach you how to write in a candidate, and then of course you will see and read and hear collectively that we need to take the money out of politics. All politics is pathological, and we need to take the money out of it. And, you know, technically, Dr. Bill, if the best candidate for the job happens to be the best candidate for the job, and he happens to be brilliant, or she happens to be brilliant, and let's say that person is poor, that person should have a right to run if he or she gets a sufficient amount of support, write-ins. You know, money should not play a factor in who can run and who can be voted for. Unfortunately, you know, it is now. Let's see now. I want to do a little plug here. New York Times best-selling author Jesse Ventura with Dick Russell. I believe this is his most recent book. He has written others, and they're all great. Just like his show on True TV. I think he's working on season 3, Conspiracy Theory. This is the one and only Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura's new book, 63 Documents the Government Doesn't Want You to Read. All right? Let me just hold it up properly. 63 Documents the Government Does Not Want You to Read, by Jesse Ventura with Dick Russell, right? Dick Russell. And this is, what's the publishing company?
Next page. Keep turning.
I don't have my reading glasses on. Oh, I'll get them. Hold on.
Keep turning. Should be there. Oh, turn them one more. One more page, please.
No, here it is.
What is it? New something?
I'm sorry.
The man is going blind. Okay?
I'm sorry if I need my reading glasses. It's all the stress from all the right wingers. No. Skyhorse.
Skyhorse.
It's an exotic name. Skyhorse Publishing. That shouldn't be too hard to remember. Just think of the legendary wrestler, the little I can't say midget anymore. The little people wrestler, Sky Lolo. He's
Sky Lolo, the
most famous pro wrestler in as far as little people go. Sky Lolo. Anyway, Sky Horse Publishing, New York Times best-selling author Jesse Ventura with Dick Russell, 63 documents the government doesn't want you to see, to read. Doesn't want you to read. Well, you have to see it.
To read it.
Well, you don't have. Well, it could be in Braille, right? Doesn't necessarily. Anyway, there's the book. Is it? It's up there, in front of the camera.
Yep.
All right. There's Jesse Ventura. That's the book. Is it available on Amazon?
Anywhere.
It's all over. All right.
All over.
Get the book. It's his latest book. Great book. I notice that the mainstream media is not giving him sufficient opportunity to push.
Well, he's been on his book tour.
This book?
Yeah, in fact, one of our friends,
Gary, when he was on for Mega Life 21, Jesse Ventura as a guest on the Gary Null Show from Ustream on the in the studio. That's on in our YouTube video channel. See that video? That's awesome, and he plugs his book on that show, on the Gary Null Show.
One of our friends went to Barnes and Noble, I believe in Jersey or New York here, and got a signed copy.
You know, he was in Barnes and Noble. I think it might have been, I don't know if it was Clifton or Ramsey Barnes and Noble. I mean Paramus. He was here locally, and I didn't know it.
Well,
I missed it. See,
our friend went there and got his book.
All right.
Signed. Autographed.
Wow. You know, I would have brought the Jesse Ventura. I know it's in VHS tape, but you know, it was his career as a pro wrestler. I'm sure he would have got a kick out of that. You know, maybe I could have got him to sign that, but you know.
Now, when our friend went there to get the book, he had been operated on his finger for a melanoma.
Jesse?
No. Our mutual friend.
Okay.
And he had the arm up and the finger sticking out. And Jesse commented and said, "What are you giving me the finger for?" He thought he was giving him the finger.
You know, there was an episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza had former New York Yankee Danny Tartable in the car.
Yeah.
And this guy, he thought this...
That one who spit?
No, he thought this guy on the road was giving them the finger. And George says, nobody gives the Yankees the finger. And chased him down, and it turned out the guy, his hand was in a cast, and there was like a bulge on top of the cast with his fingers. Well, it was like a hump.
Yeah.
It looked like a middle finger. It looked like this. You know, like sometimes when I have an itch on my shoulder that has to get scratched, sometimes I do it with two of them, you know. A little sarcastic dig. But anyway, hold on. Let me make myself a little bit useful here, and we'll continue with our articles. Continue, sir. I'll be there. I'll be there.
A letter writer
Yeah.
to our local
Oh, this is the
local newspaper said
yeah.
This other letter writer must have been getting his statistics from Bob Grant or Larry Kudlow.
Cujo?
The letters, no, Kudlow is a, what do you call him? On, what is it, 24? The Wall Street Channel, you know?
Whatever.
Kudlow is one of the shills over there for you to buy stocks. The letter said the richest 1% of United States taxpayers earned just 17% of all United States income. The true numbers are much different. In 2007, the richest 1% of Americans captured 23.5% of the nation's wealth, comparable to what they held in 1928, the year before the stock market crash that set off the Great Depression. Between 1979 and 2007, the income of the top 1% grew by 275%. Income of the bottom 20% grew by just 18%. The top 1% controls 40% of the nation's wealth, and the bottom 80% owns just 7%. As these figures show, incredible amounts of wealth have been transferred from the hands of the working and middle classes to those who already have enough.
Good goobly-goo.
This legitimizes the complaints of the Occupy Wall Street protesters rather than undercuts them.
Very interesting article. Yeah. We got tons of we always have interesting articles. This is our Thanksgiving Day special 2011, even though I do not like the Pilgrims because I do not like right-wing fundamentalists, religious zealots. Is that what they were?
Well, of course
they were right-wing fundamentalists.
They left England
zealots?
Because of religious persecution, and when they came over here, they became religious persecutors.
But they're like holy roller religious nuts, the Puritans, right?
Of course.
Well, weren't they part of the Salem witch hunt?
They were the ones who controlled it, brought it about.
And they also, like all European colonization of the world, not just the New World, but all over, they oppressed and stole everything from the native people, the native peoples.
Yes, the Native Americans.
Well, or in the case of other parts of the world, they're all native people. The East Indies, Southeast Asia. At one time, I think Europe tried to colonize China itself, right?
Yeah.
The French and British and Hong Kong and
Vietnam,
so on. It goes. List goes on and on. India by Britain, British Empire, India, and all native peoples were oppressed and got everything stolen from them. Yeah, by all from European colonization. The blacks in Africa with the slave trade, they're native people. They're native of the continent of Africa. They're natives. They had everything stolen from them too. Really, very vile.
Well, that's what colonial powers go in there for, is to take over the resources.
Marco Polo brought some goodies back from China, gunpowder, which immediately
pasta.
The Europeans thought about weapons. They didn't think about the beauty of the firework. They thought about power, weapons. Pasta, you know, you never hear Italians give, even though I'm Italian-American, you never hear them give tribute to the Chinese noodle. They make it sound like pasta was invented by Italians.
Yeah.
But it's not. No, it's not so. I believe Marco Polo brought the noodle because Asian people eat a lot of noodles. Noodles and different forms of soups and stews make up the bulk of Asian food. Every time I see Asians eat, when they go on work break, they eat a form of stew with a lot of noodles and rice and, you know, and this is what, I guess, soups and stews do not waste any nutrients from the meals. It like nothing gets lost in a soup or a stew. And of course they do stir fry, but it's mostly in that form. But anyway, yes, the pasta came from China. But anyway, the Europeans just like to, they blood-sucked from the world. They took the resources of the world by force, right? By military might, by extortion.
Exploitation.
Exploitation, that's what they did in, Francisco Pizarro and Cortez in South America. They probably found El Dorado and stole all the gold, the king and for the Pope, for the Vatican. You know, stealing the gold from the Native American people, taking everything, and forcing Catholicism on them by the sword.
How about their chocolate,
like
too?
the Inquisition. Huh?
Did they steal their chocolate, too?
I know you're big on cocoa.
Chocolate, yeah.
No, well, I'm
Cocoa.
talking about,
Cocoa.
yeah, cacao. I'm talking about gold. They took all the gold. They forced them to give up their culture, their language. They forced them by the sword to become Catholic, their form of Christianity. You know, so they brought the Inquisition to the New World, and unfortunately, Native Americans, when they saw these bearded white people on horses come off the ships, the giant ships, they thought they were gods. Little did they know. Now, if the native peoples knew that they were actual devils, demons in the form of humans...
You know, they came in the form of a light.
Right, but if the Native Americans knew ahead of time what they really were, they probably would have attacked them, which would have been a good thing. They would attack the Spaniards, the conquistadors.
Well, it certainly would have changed history.
Yeah, I would have still been in Italy, in Sicily, whatever, or Naples, or yeah.
Patients with heart failure.
I would have been talking like this.
Can reduce the risk of further occurrences by as much as 80%.
Even though I have a shillelagh in my hand. Yeah, go ahead.
Using an experimental stem cell treatment. In research by Mesoblast Limited, 45 patients who had moderate to severe congestive heart failure were given a shot of Revascor treatment in addition to standard medicines, while 15 did not receive the experimental drug. The first cut its risk of further cardiac events by almost 80%. The data is the most detailed to date in showing the efficacy of treatments derived from mesenchymal stem cells taken from another person. After an earlier trial, Mesoblast presented outstanding evidence of the stem cells' ability to rebuild heart muscles and improve blood flow. Applications in heart failure, in heart attacks, and in chronic angina represent multi-billion-dollar market opportunities.
See how they exploit everything with capitalism, including people's health?
Mesoblast is also developing a stem cell treatment for leukemia patients needing bone marrow transplants that may go on sale next year.
Well, I was very happy and impressed to see this company, I wish I knew the name of it, that grows organs for people that need donor organs from stem cells.
Yeah,
like the young man that had a kidney grown in a lab, and he needed a kidney, and they grew a kidney from his own stem cell. Yeah, they actually grew a kidney and transplanted it, and it's working. They were growing arteries. They were growing arteries for people that needed what? Bypass? Surgery?
Can be used for a lot of stuff, I guess. You know, it's wonderful stuff, but of course, the Republican religious nuts do not like it.
Oh, but that's...
You're playing God.
But that's not...
But they're not playing God.
But that...
when they put that prisoner to death.
Right, but growing organs for sick people to save their lives, that's not a good place to send tax dollars. No, but no, the military's a good place, according to the right wing, to send trillions of dollars in taxes. Oh no, they can't take that money to help the poor and the homeless and the veterans living in tents that put their lives on the line for this country. The veterans living in tents, and they cannot use that money for the stem cell labs for people that really need help. You know, the paralyzed, the people who need organs. I don't know, but those are not good reasons for tax dollars.
No. Those you are playing God. But you don't play God when you put prisoners to death or war. When the Bible says right there very clearly, love thine enemy.
Yeah, but what are you supposed to do? Let thine enemy kill you?
Well, if God sees it this way. Now remember, man's brain and mind is not the mind of God, but God sees it
God
this way.
forbid. God forbid.
God sees it this way. You have no need of fighting battles amongst yourself if you have me.
Now,
so you don't have to go to war.
Now, does this have to do with the one scene in the Bible where the person, the Israelite, was really bitching and moaning about giving taxes to Rome? And I think Jesus says, give to Rome what belongs to Rome, and give to God what belongs to Caesar. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Yeah.
Give to God what belongs to God, which means that even though Israel, ancient Israel, was occupied by Rome, it's not important. It shouldn't be a priority to, as far as giving taxes to Rome. In other words, he was changing people's priorities, more or less.
Well, yeah, he was saying he was saying that the material stuff, belongs to you guys and the world and everything, and make your decisions accordingly.
If you don't be a part of the world.
But God's stuff is spiritual. See? Now, the only material stuff that God commands you is your 10% tithe to continue the work of God.
And this is what today's scandalous, dishonest evangelists, TV evangelists, are using to dupe you out of possibly your life savings if you're stupid enough to give it to them.
Sometimes.
The TV evangelists, the phony balonies, like that guy with the permanent saccharine sweet smile, like the Joker from Batman. I'm talking about Mr. Joel Osteen, Moneybags himself, the one that all his sermons consist of telling people that God wants you to become rich and get richer, and he never stops smiling. He's got this big Cheshire cat grin on his face that never goes away, like the Joker on Batman. Yeah. People like him. They use that one part of the Bible about the 10% tithe, making people think that if you tithe to a pastor or an evangelist, if you tithe to them, you're going to receive blessings. But that's not what the tithe was meant to do.
No, the tithe was meant for you to find out who is telling you the truth about God and tithe to them.
What about...
It's not the responsibility just to give 10% to someone who's acting as a pastor or something.
Now,
you are supposed to investigate.
Would you consider...
Who is telling you the truth?
Would you consider a Christian that has a lot of money who decides to tithe to the poor and help the poor, would you consider that a tithe? To help the poor?
That's not a direct tithe to God, no.
Well,
that is help that is required in your physical world.
How is it a direct tithe to God by giving a human being 10%?
Because it's gonna further God's work. God has a church here on earth.
But you have to find an honest person who is...
No, you have to find that church.
A small flock, I assume.
A small flock. But the point is...
finding it.
That is where you're supposed to be tithing. Not to just anyone who claims to be a Christian.
Yeah, like the evangelists.
You must investigate who is the real Christian, and then you further his work.
That is the challenge, to investigate. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I would like to announce that the sickening, annoying, nauseating Christmas carols, the Christmas songs in department stores and shopping malls have begun rather early.
Oh, really? Do they ever play the one, I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas?
Who the fuck
You ever hear that one?
Who the hell wrote that?
I don't know. But all the young ladies that I know seem to know this song.
Yeah, well, all the young ladies seem to watch the stupidest, most asinine videos on the internet, like the 3 farting frogs that has over 32 million hits already on YouTube and counting. They seem to be preoccupied with the duck song and other stupid ass songs, videos, instead of watching videos concerning what is really happening to this country and this world and learning something. Oh no, they can't do that. But they watched this stupid video of a hippopotamus and Christmas, trying to make a hippopotamus cute. Meanwhile, a real hippo would have them for dinner. You know, it's so ridiculous. The people in this country are stupid. But then again, they voted for a Republican Congress last year. You know, oh, and that's sickening. Oh, I want to. Oh man, I want saltwater crocodile. This woman dressed in a stupid red outfit, advertising for Target. She acts like she drank a whole pot of espresso coffee, like she's ODing on caffeine. She's so annoying, but it's a bombardment by the retail industry to sucker you into spending money you don't have for this pagan holiday called Christmas. And by the way, the censored on demand archive classic called the The Christmas Lie is on the internet. Go to YouTube, type in Megalife 21, The Christmas Lie, by William J. Eisenman, PhD, and Doctor of Divinity. It's there. Listen to it. We got it on Facebook. We got it on YouTube. The Christmas Lie. Listen to it. Continue.
Tina Shallis.
Who the hell is she?
Drives 90 miles round trip to Birchwood Farms in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
To buy 6 gallons of unpasteurized milk.
No birch beer from Birchwood Farms?
Enough to last 10 days for drinking and making ice cream or kefir.
Is this a certified raw organic milk?
And here's the kicker.
Why is she going there?
She pays $8 a gallon.
What? Whoa. What?
About twice the cost of a gallon of pasteurized milk.
More than twice the cost. I could find it for $2.50.
It is well worth it, said Shallis.
What is different about this milk?
Like Shallis, New Jersey's raw milk lovers head to Pennsylvania and New York weekly or bi-weekly because they say pasteurization kills beneficial bacteria along with potentially dangerous bacteria such as E. coli and Salmonella.
And do you see what's going on here? Do you see the pattern in our capitalist, greedy capitalist society? Do you see how even the so-called health food industry takes advantage of this, or should I say, supply and demand bullshit?
Well, they have to because they cost. Their costs are more.
Oh yeah, but if the cows
if it were a normal thing, that would bring the price down.
But are the cows free-range, grass-fed?
Well, we didn't get there yet. We don't know.
So, if they're out on the pasture, how is the cost of feed a factor in the price of the milk? All right, continue.
And they cross borders because New Jersey is one of 11 states where the sale of raw milk is illegal. At Birchwood Farms in Newtown, owner Mike Tierney said 60 to 70% of his customers have New Jersey license plates. Raw milk is absolutely awesome. It's really like a perfect food, said Tierney, a veterinarian and third-generation farmer.
Does he make kefir and yogurt and buttermilk?
Raw milk advocates may soon be able to purchase their liquid gold closer to home.
Oh, God. $8 a gallon.
This year, the New Jersey Assembly voted overwhelmingly in favor of legislation to allow farmers to sell unpasteurized milk.
Oh, gee, they've been doing that for thousands of years. Now, all of a sudden, they need New Jersey politicians to give them the okay.
Our farmers are missing that market, said Assemblyman John DeMaio, the bill's sponsor, People are going to Pennsylvania to buy the product. Agriculture in New Jersey needs whatever it can get to get propped up. Farmers who sell raw milk can set their own prices because they sell directly to the consumer, said Ed Wengine, research associate with the New Jersey Farm Bureau.
I think all local New Jersey farm owners, whether it be livestock, fruits, vegetables, organic farming, I think they all should get a huge tax break, and they should be helped in every which way to bring back the local farmer.
But that's not what's happened.
No.
The federal subsidies are given to the big industry.
You see? Federal subsidies going to fat cats.
That's correct.
Just like tax dollars, just like all the federal government helped Goldman Sachs, right? And Wall Street, ExxonMobil,
GE.
Always the fat cats. Now you know why there's protesters, the Occupy.org movement. Now you know why, and the media is not showing you the real truth.
But the federal government sets the price of pasteurized milk, which is $1.54 a gallon, wholesale. Conventional dairy farmers are going out of business at a rate of 16 per day in the United States because farmers are not getting a fair price for their milk. Milk sold in stores is government subsidized, and grain producers and dairy companies are seeing the profit, not farmers. This milk, the raw milk, is coming from small farms. You don't have the economies of scale, she said. It needs to cost more. At least 3% of New Jersey's population consumes raw milk. Hundreds of thousands of dollars are going across the border, she said. The enthusiasm is not universal, though. The Food and Drug Administration and the Centers for Disease Control recommend drinking only pasteurized milk.
Overpriced pasteurized
because
milk.
Lethal bacteria may lurk in raw milk.
Oh, how did people survive on raw milk for hundreds of thousands of years? Europeans, that is.
The CDC identified 45 outbreaks of illness tied to raw milk or raw cheese between 1998 and May 2005.
Raw cheese? I thought the fermentation of cheese and kefirs and yogurts and all that, I thought the probiotics kills any negative pathogens.
These outbreaks accounted for 1,007 illnesses, 104 hospitalizations, and 2 deaths. The FDA banned interstate sales in the 1980s, but left it up to states to decide what to do within their borders. That's when I had to stop buying raw milk from Iowers in Hackensack.
The last large mom and pop owned health food store in probably northeastern New Jersey. Yeah, Aylwards. Yeah, the very last. They're still there. They're probably struggling to stay alive, but they're still there. Capital Aylwards, Aylwards, on Main Street in Hackensack, New Jersey. They're still there. Yeah, they're expensive, but you know, you got expertise. People.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just like all mom and pop small businesses, you pay more, but you have people that know their shit. You have expertise.
Well, you pay more because they don't have the volume.
They can't buy in volume.
Yeah.
But what you lose in savings, you gain in advice and help if you happen to be a consumer that needs a little guidance. Where if you go to any of the big chains of any industry, they're just retail employees that are not paid a hell of a lot, and they don't care and they don't know. They're not trained. They're not informed. You know, that's how it is.
It is up to the consumer to decide what to consume. People choose to eat raw oysters. The issue is divisive among members of the New Jersey Farm Bureau.
You have to be from certified waters, though. Clams and oysters.
Large milk producers worry the reputation of milk itself would be damaged should consumers become sick from raw milk. But the smaller farmers who could produce feel they are closer to the customer and willing to make sure the product is wholesome and safe.
Oh yeah, just like the FDA, they want to make sure everything is wholesome and safe for Americans. They care so much about people, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. Bullshit. Bullshit. You have another gem that's not long?
This one ain't long. I don't know if it's a gem.
You don't know if it's a gem. What is it about? It's not about anything stupid.
It's science. It's a little science.
Oh, we like science here at Newsletter Censored. Science! Go ahead.
Your reply to the question about the 25,000-mile band around the Earth was so counterintuitive that I thought you had lost your edge. Then I did the math and learned you were correct. Yet the answer still seems wrong to me. My question: why do we cling to beliefs even after seeing facts that contradict them?
Yeah.
An important question.
Yes.
Because that's what Republicans do all the time.
True. True.
Because people get freaked out by the notion of being wrong about anything, it makes them feel insecure. If you can be wrong about this or that, what about all the other stuff you think you know?
There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know. I really don't know, honestly. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
Or investigating.
It doesn't make one stupid to admit the truth that they really don't know, instead of pretending to be the foremost authority on just about every damn thing.
And taking everything by faith.
Yeah, faith-based crap. And expecting to spend tax dollars on things that are, in theory, that are based on faith, like your zealot, right-wing, fundamentalist, religious nuts. They have the nerve to force their views of, their phony views of the Bible onto you and your children, and to expect to spend taxpayers' money on something that's based on faith. No one, I don't care if they're real Christians or whatever religion it happens to be, no one has yet proved that their God exists. Therefore, no one has the right to spend 1 penny of taxpayers' money on their faith-based agendas.
Nonsense.
Do you agree?
Yeah, of course.
All right, go ahead, continue.
And the more important the subject, the more unnerving the emotion. It's not too scary to be incorrect about a math concept. But how about the car you bought? Or the doctor you chose?
Mm-hmm.
Your question goes to the heart of much unsound thinking. After we leave school, we tend to head down one of two roads. We close our minds to new or different information while becoming more and more sure of ourselves. Or number two, we watch, listen, and learn as we get older. The second road has way more bumps and curves, but it's also the path to wisdom.
Excellent.
Grasshopper.
Actually, grasshopper. Even though you did not really know what this article was about, besides science, right? It ended up being a gem.
A gem, exactly.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent article. You see, all of our shows are done at random, ad-libbed, unrehearsed. You never know what you're going to hear on any of our shows.
What gems you can take away.
We do not pre-plan or rehearse anything. The articles are picked at random, our conversation is done at random, ad-libbed, and that's the way we like it. Jackie Gleason did it with the Honeymooners, and it works out great because the unpredictability of our shows, it's just very natural. The flow is natural because conversation flows into other conversations. Subjects flow into other subjects. They change on their own. It's sort of like being in a hot air balloon and just letting the currents blow you around.
It's certainly not like the talking points that Republicans get every day,
which happens to be the hot air in the balloon. You see how Bill,
segued.
Dr. Bill sets me up for jokes. I didn't plan on that. I just, the hot air in the balloon blows you wherever the current of the wind blows you. Everything's unrehearsed. The hot air, he mentions the right-wing Republicans, the hot air in the balloon. That's what comes out of their mouths.
The hot air usually ends up on Fox News.
The hot air ends up on Fox News. And you suckers, you middle-class lemmings, believe it, hook, line, and sinker, and you end up voting for the worst of the two-party system. The two-party system in bed with the elitists. They want to control the world in the form of a corporate plutocracy. Wake up, America, wake up. This has been a very invigorating show. Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, Pope of the Internet. This is our official Thanksgiving special 2000. How was that? Is that a good toiki? Toiki? Anyway, listen. I know it's Saturday. What is it? November 19th. I know it's not Thanksgiving Day, but Thanksgiving Day always falls on a Thursday. We don't do shows during the week unless I have a special event that I have to do on a Saturday. Then we push it to Wednesday. But we don't have any shows. So we're not going to see you until next Saturday, which will be after the fact. It won't be Thanksgiving anymore.
It'll be after the fact.
It'll be
we'll
black.
All be putting on all that fat.
It will be, yeah, after the fat, right? It'll be Black Saturday because I know about Black Friday, and I stay off all the major highways. I don't get on major roads Black Friday. You think I'm crazy? And I shop online anyway and save money. I don't pay full price at retail stores. Screw that. And wait on long lines and fight people for a parking space at the mall. No, James is too smart for that.
Not at this time of year.
No, wait, now. And then there's crime at the mall in the parking lot. Black Saturday, well, I take local roads when I have to get around. Yeah, it will be Black Saturday and it'll be after Thanksgiving. So naturally, we have to call today the Thanksgiving Day special. I am against the Pilgrims and European colonization and all right-wing fundamentalists. We are against it, but we love the flavor of toiki, as they say in Brooklyn, or turkey. We love turkey, and I will gorge myself on the finest banquet that my sister will prepare like she normally does at her fiance's house, and I will be guzzling high-quality Scotch whiskey, single malt, aged to perfection for many, many years, and also some good rum, dark rum. They call it añejo, which is an extra smooth aged rum. I will be drinking añejo dark rum and mostly good Scotch, and maybe it'll be organic Scotch. Do you think is there such a thing?
I guess it's what kind of additives are added to that?
Certified organic Scotch. I'm making it up.
I think they might come up with it if they had to get the marketing.
Since Whole Foods is kind of becoming corporatist,
kinda.
Maybe they'll start selling. Well, they have wine, they have liquor in Whole Foods.
There you go.
I'm sure Gary Noll would not approve of a health food store selling booze, right?
No.
Dr. Gary Noll.
And he doesn't like Mr. Mackey anyway.
Oh, is that the CEO of Whole Foods? Scumbag. Typical corporate American CEO. Scumbag, right?
A lot of his stuff is from China.
Soldier of Satan. There you go. Outsourced goods, right? China. But what about the quality of the stuff from China?
Crap.
I wonder where my certified organic steel-cut oatmeal comes from. I wonder if it's really Oh, gee, I hope it's really...
Does it say Scotland?
No.
Well, then it probably ain't original.
No, I know with Bob's Red Mill, it tells you, it gives you a lot of detail on the bag. But, you know, well, the steel cut oatmeal from Ireland and Scotland happens to cost like $5 a pound.
You know, and oatmeal is one of the grains that they really have failed to destroy completely.
Who?
The corporations.
You mean like Monsanto?
They're making the fast version, you know?
In other words,
Etc.
is something about oats that they can't tamper with?
Well, they've been tampering with them, but so far it's so good.
Genetically modified? Oh, they
They
haven't...
do have that one fast version.
They
I don't know
haven't-
how much nutrients are left.
They haven't screwed it up yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've been using the Whole Foods organic texturized soy protein as a meat stretcher. Like if you're going to make a meatloaf or meatballs for spaghetti and meatballs, you can stretch it. It's in bulk. It's cheap. It's excellent. But I wish I knew exactly where everything comes from. You know, we never run out of material. I mean, it's like, unfortunately, this is the wonderful system that this jabroni, before I close the show, Reverend Bill knows what I'm talking about. This jerk, this right-wing jerk. I don't know if the guy is middle class or rich, but he leaves a message on YouTube on one of our progressive discussions videos about, you know, of course, conservative bashing, Republican bashing videos, and he's more or less saying that capitalism is the only system in the world that has worked, that actually works. What basis does this guy have for saying capitalism is...
Worked for who?
Work for who?
Yeah.
Not the little guy.
Not the 80%.
Not the middle class.
Not under globalization, free trade.
So our answer to him is looking at the state of the country and the economy with the job market and people living in tents. I would take a lucky guess and say that capitalism only works for the top.
Those who have capital.
Those who have moolah. The top 1% perhaps.
Very clear.
People making 250 grand and over until they lose their businesses and jobs and become demoted.
And have no more capital.
Have no more capital. The fat cats. The American dream is only exists.
It's another way of saying an aristocracy, because the only people who will benefit under that system are those who already have the money to pass on to their kids.
And the kids are born with silver spoons in their mouth.
So that's capitalism.
So he is right about capitalism working great, but it doesn't work great for the masses.
No, because the masses have to make the capital. Then they have to save it.
But the fat
and
cats
build it.
The fat
They
cats
start out with it.
right, but the fat cats in bed with our political leaders have changed the laws so that the little guy doesn't stand a chance to compete against the corporations. So mom and pop stores, entrepreneurs, small businesses do not have a chance. So therefore, the capitalism it's arranged so the capitalism stays with the aristocracy.
Correct.
With the fat cats.
Correct.
And the little guy you can't sell out of the trunk of your car or wheel a push cart and survive.
You see, over in New York, they want to get you off the street if you want to sell hot dogs.
Yeah, you got to buy expensive permits or something, or they just want to get rid of you.
The stores that are on the street, they don't want you there.
And the people on top that have the moolah just don't care, and the politicians that they've paid off just simply don't care, and the media covers up the truth, and so on and so on. I just hope I hope a good, solid, consistent leader comes forth with the Occupy Wall Street movement, whether it be Michael Moore or somebody that gets in front of the camera and speaks for the Occupy Wall Street movement?
Well, they don't want a leader, actually.
Who doesn't want a leader?
Occupy.
Oh.
It's a Democratic. They have round table. Everybody has input.
But why does the media only focus on the smelly hippies that are dancing around like they're high on, like it's Woodstock?
Well, because then they have to tell the real story, and they're not about to tell the real story.
They're dancing around to drum beat and acting like they're high, like it was Woodstock. That's all the media shows you.
Yeah.
And they show you people screaming at little kids trying to get to school, but they don't show you, they don't interview the people that are running the whole movement that can tell you. Well, they do hold up signs. We are the 99%. We're against corporate greed. But that's all the American media allows you to see. That part.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm sure back in the day, when the poor strikers were trying to get a decent living wage, and they were shot to death, I'm sure the newspapers came up with some angle that said, oh, these strikers! Trying to force the bosses to give them more pay.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, that's anathema in America.
And didn't the National Guard rough up the coal miners? The
Killed
strikers?
them, if you call that roughing up, yeah.
So the National Guard, who was ordered by
The governor.
the governor, sided with the fat cats back then to rough up the work, to shoot the workers. So it's like shooting your own people. But isn't it funny how that did not spark a new civil war back then?
Look, I on Facebook the other day, I put a comment down there. Someone had said something about corporations or whatever.
Right.
And I said, isn't it funny that we have to get out there in the street and protest and stuff, but the corporations or the fat cats, all they have to do is go into the Congress with some dollar bills in their hand, and they get what they want.
They got the blowhorn. They got the media on their side. They got the politicians on their side because they pay for it.
Yeah.
They can afford to.
You know, I mean, why do we have to go out in the street and do that crap?
You know, you know that the movie V for Vendetta, the historic mask that's very popular today, that was a real story about a man fighting the fat cats back in England, I believe. And yeah, that I'm glad that they used that I guess Renaissance type of mask with the big smile. I'm glad they've used it as a symbol because it's very easy to connect. It's visual. It's a very unique mask. The second you see it, you know what it represents. And of course, I have it in our Mega Life 21 newsletter censored Facebook photo album, which happens to be available for public view. You can go to our Facebook page, which is viewable for everyone, even non-Facebook members, by going to www.facebook.com/newsletter censored. All one word. All right, anyway, thank you for joining us for our Thanksgiving 2011 special here at Progressive Discussions. It was very invigorating, to say the least, because there's a lot of sensitive, hard-hitting subjects that we covered. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Do a little happy Thanksgiving greeting.
Bye.
Was that a turkeys?
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Turkeys don't crow, by the way.
Oh.
You know, they do something like. Could you imitate that?
No.
No. Okay. Take care. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving Day, everyone in America and the world. No, Thanksgiving is only an American holiday.
I think Canada had theirs already, didn't
Yeah,
they?
it's only an American holiday. But even, I mean, people like Latin Americans, it's not their holiday, but I just love the food on Thanksgiving so damn much that if it was not my holiday, I'd just celebrate it for the sake of the food and drink. All right, bye-bye. And watch out for the cops, man. DWI. Take alternative routes.
Yeah, they'll kill you for something like that.
Take alternative routes home. Take back roads home, people. Every holiday, every big holiday in America, the cops are out there. You know, you shouldn't drive drunk, but you should also, you know, have fun and enjoy yourself. But, you know, designated drivers, but take them back roads home, because the DWI checkpoints are on the highways. All right.